And here we are again, superheroes. Oh, it's so nice to be talking to you, to any of you. Who am I talking to? Well, I just read a few comments this morning of some inspirational things that I like to read. And in reality, that's always how I like to start my day. I like to start my day by seeing the good things and exposing myself to positive things and resting into that first before I do anything. And you might have your own rhythm too of what you prefer to do first before you perhaps turn on the television, or before you open up your emails, or before you start scrolling on your phone through Instagram, or trying to check what happened last night, while you were sleeping. So we all have our morning ritual of what we tend to do first thing to actually start our day. And what note are we starting our day on? I think it's really important, especially now, because since you're a superhero and since you're a lighthouse and helping raise consciousness and inspire others just by being beautiful and by being positive and resting in that in your own experience, it's really nice to see where we're making that choice to actually fill ourselves with question marks, or listening to downward spiraling news. Or, you know what? I noticed even a month ago, even I could have been in the other room from where the television was playing the news, and I could even tell by the tone of the voice, without actually even listening to what they were saying, just how dramatic it was and how scary it was and how we've got this important news to share with you, and oh my God. And I mean, that's what news is, isn't it? It's a report, it's to get your attention, and ultimately it's also a business, like there's, in my profession anyway, being a meditation teacher, there's like always two sides to the story to listen to before I come to any conclusions. There's often 20 sides to the story. There's, the truth you believe you have. There's the truth that somebody else saw to the same situation. Then there's the higher truth and the greater truth, the universal truth, the divine truth. And so these ideas of what's true keeps changing. So that's really important to keep remembering, because these ideas that are getting told to us, and these stories that are being told to us, can create a lot of uncertainty in us of what's right or wrong. Ultimately, if we lived in a little cave in the middle of nowhere, none of that would be affecting us, because it wouldn't be our reality. Think of, 100 years ago, let's just go pre-internet time, when lots of people perhaps lived on farms, or even if they lived in villages or smaller towns. When you didn't move so fast around the globe, or even around a town or around a country, when information didn't move so fast. How was the level of peace and contentment? I mean, what was your world right then? I'm sure there still was other stuff going on, and because we have a mind, there's always going to be something to be scared about, or worried about, thinking about, upset about, choosing it's wrong, wanting for something better. That's just what the brain does, what the mind keeps creating, those patterns. But when our space is more here, and this is more important to us, then we can experience more contentment with what we have, rather than fighting for what's out there. Now, on a global sense, humanity is walking very quickly globally together, and that takes on a different role for us. It's very interesting to hear these news, and sometimes strong needs for change, and to recognize there's people out there who don't have the freedoms or the rights that perhaps our countries do, or the understandings that perhaps we have created, because it's all been created over time. What society is doing now wasn't what society was doing 100 years ago, or 200 years ago, or 500 years ago. It's all evolved, right? For better, for worse, who knows? But it's part of where where humanity needs to get to now to rise. So as much as I'm inviting us to kind of like come back to the reality of my existence now, where is my peace and my good in my home, in myself, in my living experience of now, to stabilize the contentment and the knowledge that everything's okay here, so that I can move that into a global platform. So how does that work? It means that when you hear all these stories, or you see events happening in other countries, or the shifts are starting to happen in your own country, your own city even, is to be still in your center, to approach those situations and those changes of our awareness, revealing of hurts to other people, but to do it with your truth. Now, the difference is getting swept away into anger or fear, but there's no place for fear if you rest back into your truth and own your truth and recognize the good that you rest in now. And if you offer that then to your day, to your cause, to something that's changing in humanity, to your own way of sharing, then the energy that's backing it is divine. Do you see the difference? So I'm not saying don't stand up and fight for rights of humanity changing and different countries going through things and different races going through things and different languages, whatever, going through things. We're always evolving all the time. There's always a cause. But there's a huge difference to add to the fear or add to the unease or add to the anger versus adding to love, adding to clarity, adding to solutions, adding to unity. Huge difference. When I was a wee girl, was back in the time of Greenpeace. Gosh, I hope Greenpeace probably still exists. Oh my gosh, what did I just say? But when I was growing up, it was basically Save Tibet and Greenpeace. And I'm a New Zealander, so there was a Greenpeace boat that had a tourist attack on it in New Zealand. So of course that made headlines. Because it was trying to help the world, and so it was something for the good. And then and also because there was a terrorist attack on it, like a bomb in New Zealand, which is a far, far, far away on the other side of the world from most of humanity, and a small peaceful country. It was just like, what are you trying to say? So, but that's what I was presented with as a child. And because I think it's in us to search for something bigger, to grow into our greatness, to evolve. So there's passion in a lot of us. And the passion can be directed into something that serves for the good and the expansion of consciousness and the expansion of love now, not soon, but now. Or that passion can be a little bit misdirected and it becomes more anger and more forceful and more damaging. Okay, there's a difference. And what I saw there as a young girl was I jumped on the bandwagon of the anger. Humanity's bad and you guys suck and we're all fighting. We've got to fight louder and stronger against them. It created an energy on me of wanting to change and to see change. But I was lucky to realize I'm one person in this big project. And I got to see very quickly that I didn't want to be the angry person fighting for a cause that I only kind of knew about. Like even the Free Tibet thing back in the 80s. I didn't really know the history and I didn't really know what was happening. It just, the story I heard was really bad. And so I wanted to stand up for that and help in any way possible. And I always remember, for example, the Dalai Lama back then, just being at peace, saying, just focus on God, just focus on the good, just go with it, just be love, be and represent truth. And yet half the world was going, why aren't you fighting? Why aren't you reclaiming your right? And yet the lesson there was, there's God's will. There's the universal will, the universal plan. And if you surrender to that and live in that, you're not angry, you're not forceful, you're not fighting, you're not moving back into that negative energy. Whereas when humanity is rising and changing positively only through love, only through kindness. So it's not to be kind in some situations and not in others. It's to live kindness all the time, no matter what the cards are dealt, no matter how the cookie crumbles. What other analogy can I use? No matter what the divine plan is that's revealing itself to you, for you to grow. It's such a beautiful lesson there, because we can get so swept so easily into emotions, and it seems so right. So right and wrong, duality, you know. And the talk here, the lesson here is create an environment for you. Be authentic to yourself and consistent with yourself, that you give yourself an environment that supports you growing into a loving creature, that supports you recognizing kindness everywhere. Read the books that expand you into a loving person, knowledge about the universe, kindness towards yourself. Watch shows that supports that. Start your day in some way that connects you. And it could be as simple as sitting in your garden. It could be doing some stretches or some yoga or going for a walk before you pick up your phone, before you turn on the television. It could be anything that brings you into yourself and into the greater presence of your existence before you step out into your daily life and then have to deal with, you know, what's positive, what's negative, what's right, what's wrong, what crazy stuff happened last night, what stuff's going on today, what do I need to know, what do I need to catch up on, who's doing what, you know, and scroll through Instagram and Facebook and the news and check through all the channels trying to catch up on all the stuff I need to be aware of. However we operate in our day, do it from a foundation of kindness. Do it where fear has no space. Worry has no room if you're filling yourself up with love and kindness. Look for the internet pages of news that actually tells you about the good stories and the amazing accomplishments of humanity loving each other and the great things that we're all doing and supporting each other. There's a lot of it there every day. If you focus on that, you'll find beautiful stories of how families or neighborhoods or strangers are helping each other out. I love those things, and I prefer to fill my attention up with that. I'm not saying turn a blind eye and be oblivious to other things. And if you're strongly following a cause, absolutely follow your heart and what brings you joy. My talk today is obviously about where are you in this day today? What are you focusing on? If you focus on love and kindness and the greater picture of humanity, the unfoldment of the divine plan with you in it, with everybody in it, then there's no room for fear. It might be a bit like, whoa, what the heck's going on? It's pretty crazy. But the fear doesn't come in because there's a trust that moves into this divine plan. I think if you're doing that, I know for me anyway, by doing that, we really get a sense and live in this ability to surrender to the changes. It's like the changes are happening often outside of our control. And a part of us wants to control it or add to a solution or a change going in a different direction. But don't lose yourself in that. Don't give up you being a lighthouse. Don't drop your energy and your vibration when what the world needs from you right now is your energy to be higher and your vibration to be higher. And the highest vibration is love. And of course, kindness, happiness, joy, all of that is all up in those good vibrations. I mean, I'm not a vibration meter and I don't normally talk about it like that, but it's so apparent that you can walk down the streets and look people in the eye and see their concerns, or and mirror that, you know, or kind of look away quickly because you're strangers, or you could look people in the eye and smile and spread kindness and a little moment of security between the two of you. And even if social distancing happens for a while yet, or forever, who knows how our world is going to be going forward. Even I heard a comment yesterday that it's so unnatural, but yes, we're adapting so quickly that social distancing is normal for a lot of people now. And it's a shame because we're adapting to it. And I went, whereas, you know, humanity's a herd, we're supposed to be together and hug and do that stuff. And I went, is it a problem? I think we're being shown different things. I think we're being shown that we can still be love and connected, even though there's a little bit more distance between us. The rush to jump in and hug each other, or to stand so close together, it's not such a big deal when you sit in your kindness and your own inner beauty, and you recognize that in other people. You can still share that. You can still be totally connected to that, and it's just not such a shame or such a problem as this person was sharing with me. I think, yes, we're adapting, but I think it can be the good thing of humanity, but it also can be, of course, a downside. But let's always look at the good side. If it's what's necessary right now and we're adapting, meaning we're more comfortable with it, that means most people are choosing to love rather than to resist, to support rather than to fight. And so I think that way that we adapt and we change, it actually could be an expansion of consciousness. It could be a growth in humanity, which of course is what this is all about. If the universe is always giving us situations and reasons for us to grow, for us to evolve, for us to be better versions of ourselves, then there's no difference with the last 24 hours or the last 48 hours of your life or the last months. The universe is giving us the divine plan for humanity to evolve, for you to evolve, for you to live in the teaching of love, for you to actually live in yourself and see where you can be more kind. It's not soon. It's not what I'm going to become. It's your choices now. So do that and be that as you step out into your daily life. Remember that throughout your day. And like I started saying, start your day in a way that matches what you want your day to energetically be. Not the situations, not the conversations, but inside of you. Give yourself that first moment or moments or hour or hours of calm and enlivenment and positivity before you start doing what you need to do, going to work, opening Facebook, emails, turning on televisions. It might even change the types of food you eat. You know, you might actually want to resonate more with something more alive and positive rather than habitual and perhaps not so good for you. Maybe it's a great exploration. So we always end with an exercise, and this is a pretty obvious one, isn't it? The exercise for this next week is see how you start your day. Start consciously creating a frame that when you first get up and you've got stuff to do, make it positive. Start to really create a positive environment around you that's authentic to your desire of peace and happiness, where you do not let fear in, where there's no room for it. Not like you're pushing it away and trying to guard yourself, but create your sacred space. Live in it. Make that more important, even if it's pouring that coffee or that tea and sitting back and just sitting there for 10 minutes enjoying your children or your plants or the sunshine or the rain before you start to move in your daily life. Create that space. Okay, superheroes,